allegiance, followed by invocation by Commissioner Davy Jones.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. I'm going to start by reading Psalms 28, verses 7 and 8. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and he helps me. My heart leaps with joy, and with my song I praise him. The Lord is the strength of his people, a fortress of salvation for his anointed one. Father, as we come today, we want to thank you for the blessing of the season. We've been through Advent and Christmas, and now a new year to look forward to. We'd ask that you'd continue to bless this county, bless our citizens in this county, and bless particularly our workers in this county. And as we conduct the county's business today, we'd ask that you'd bless this meeting and please be in attendance with us. And we give you that thanks today in Jesus' name. Amen.
This morning, I don't have any chair comments, and we'll proceed immediately to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the items on the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the items on the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment this morning. With us today is Rebecca Clancy. When you come to the podium, please announce yourself. She's the Executive Director of Russell Child Development Center. Good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year. I'm Rebecca Clancy, the Executive Director of RCDC, and I just wanted to stop in today and thank you personally once again for the allocations that you have given us. We don't take that for granted. We appreciate every dollar that you give us to provide the services to children with identified special needs and disabilities in Finney County. And it is truly our honor and our privilege to do that important work here for your youngest citizens. Things are going very well at RCDC, and we are continuing to serve well over 100 children in this county, in this community, which I think is a wonderful investment, saving money down the road, getting children off to a good start, helping them meet their full potential. I've brought just a little token of appreciation. Purchased with my own funds.
Give that to the chairman, please. We'll have to inspect that. You know, it might have tainted material in it.
For you all. So we do appreciate all you do and all your support. And it really is, it is our privilege to provide these services in Finney County. That's all.
Thank you for the wonderful card and gift.
You're very welcome.
We'll make sure we have that with some coffee here in a little bit.
Okay. Have a good year.
Hold on.
Oh,
Any questions or comments from the commission for Ms. Clancy?
Just a comment, thank you for what you do and getting those kids started.
our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Madam Clerk, nobody reported to you, did they? Since we have all of three people in the audience, the other two being our Executive Director of EcoDevo and also our Finance Director and Assistant Administrator. The public chose not to show up today. They're still having a New Year's celebration going on. We're going to get right into those Christmas gifts here in just a second. Business items, district coroner appointment, and Ms. Schartz, what do you have for us?
We have to, every 4 years, appoint a district coroner. We have had Dr. Moline serving as our coroner in prior years to now. He has indicated that he would accept appointment again. He did request a slight increase in that, in the financial part on that contract, but otherwise the contract remains largely the same as it has been in the past. You have alternatives one, appoint Dr. Bruce Moline, MD, as the 25th Judicial District Coroner for a term of 4 years from January 8th, 2024 to January 10th, 2028, and approve the District Coroner Agreement as presented, or to decline to appoint Dr. Bruce Moline, MD, as the 25th Judicial District Coroner and determine how to fill the appointment no later than January 8th of 2024. Staff would recommend alternative one, which is appointing Dr. Bruce Moline, MD, as the 25th Judicial District Coroner for a term of 4 years from January 8th, 2024 to January 10th, 2028, and approve the District Coroner Agreement as presented.
Quick question, all the other counties have to agree on this, or you have one county that opts out? What does the district court do then?
It's the biggest county, or the biggest population within the judicial district that appoints it, and I don't believe there's an opting out provision as far as that goes.
Any other questions for Kara?
Ready for a motion?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I'd offer the motion that we approve the, is that a resolution or a district coroner agreement as it is presented to us.
And I would second that. It would be from January 8th of '24 to January 10th of 2028.
Been moved and seconded to approve the proposed coroner agreement according to the agenda and the proposed contract to the commission. Is there any further comment on the pending motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The contract requires the signature of all of us, and I'm sure the clerk will circulate that here.
He's coming.
Must be my healthy start to the new year. Because Rebecca didn't bring us chocolate, she brought us healthy nuts. Men are good.
Pass that over to Larry. He looks like he's hungry.
Next time you guys build a county commission seat, don't put the crack right in the middle of the table in the chairman's part. You can tell I originally signed it because I pushed right through the paper.
Oh, I thought maybe the crumbs from the, no.
You mean from the very delicious nuts that were donated to us by Ms. Clancy of Russell Child Development Center? They're very good, by the way.
Nifty Nut House. Oh, I know where that is. I thought I recognized that.
We had a family.
Robert, you need some of them.
Oh, yeah, I'll pass those around. Next on our agenda is the presidential preference primary, and we'll hear from our county clerk.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dory Munyon, Finney County Clerk and Election Officer. The state of Kansas this year, and thus Finney County, will conduct a presidential preference primary in March of 2024. So the preference primary takes an act by the Kansas legislature to be conducted. And what it does is it takes the responsibility from the two state parties, the Republicans and Democrats in Kansas, from conducting a caucus, and instead gives the responsibility to the state to conduct a primary election. It's called a preference primary because you won't actually be nominating anyone to be on the ballot for president. What you're doing is you won't be selecting the party candidate. You will be telling the parties basically what your preference is for them to assign delegates to. And so this law was passed in 1978, and this will be only the third time that the state of Kansas has chosen to do the presidential preference primary. They did it before in 1980 and again in 1992. So last year they authorized a state-run and state-funded presidential preference primary for 2024. So while it is state-funded, we won't be reimbursed 100%. There are certain costs that they will and won't reimburse. So with that, this election, because it's not like a normal election, it's governed under a different set of statutes. And so some of the rules for that primary are a little bit different. And a few of them I wanted to call out is that instead of being 21 days before the election to register to vote, voters have to register 31 days prior to the election. The next one is to submit an application for a mail ballot. Has to be done 30 days prior to the presidential preference primary election day instead of the 8th that it normally is in the regular election. The deadline to submit voted mail ballots back is that they must be received by the election office by the close of polls on election day. For a normal election, the mail ballots have to be postmarked by election day and can be received up to the 3rd day after the election. That is not the case in this primary. Anything that's counted has to be received by close of polls on election day. So that's a little different. And so we'll be trying to get word out to people who normally do that, who normally do the mail ballots.
So if the mail is late on election day, those people don't get to count their vote because of the mail?
That's correct. Everything must be received in my office by election day, so.
Close of the polls or?
Close of polls on election day. So we'll have the drop box open out front. The mail ballots can also be dropped off at any polling location or in our office anytime prior to election day. But
So you'll have all your normal polling locations?
probably. So this is the first time, obviously, I've ever done one of these. I don't know what to expect for turnout, really. The problem is that we could reduce the number of polling locations. However, that would require mail go out to 20,000 voters to let them know that that's changed. There's a little additional cost there. So got to weigh that between the, not disenfranchising voters by changing things on them too much because we've already got a lot of changes. So we will probably retain our regular polling locations.
And the ballot will be for not individual candidates for the position, it will be for delegates that represent?
Yes, so candidates have until January 19th to file to be on this ballot. So anybody who wants to run for President of the United States can file with the Kansas Secretary of State's office. And what they will do is all of the Republicans that file, they will place all the Republicans on the Republican ballot, all the Democrat filers on the Democratic ballot. When a winner is determined, it's not really voting for somebody to be on the ballot in November. Those results will go to the parties, and the parties can say, oh, candidate A won, that's what the people of the state of Kansas, that's who they want us to give their delegates to. Does that make sense? It's a little bit confusing.
So is it binding or non-binding on the parties?
Binding in what sense?
Is the vote binding on the party or is it non-binding on the party?
They would not have to do what the people say.
It's non-binding.
Correct.
Well, that sounds normal.
Dory, since the ballot's identical at every precinct,
Yes.
understand it, do you have to go to your assigned precinct to vote, or can you vote at any of them?
No, you would have to go to your assigned location. Part of the reason is that we don't communicate over the internet. So if you go vote at the 4-H building, there would be no way for First Southern Baptist to know that you already voted down there, and they may let you vote again.
That's a little insurance, your system, that,
Correct.
that games can't be played with the vote.
Correct.
Good.
So the last difference in this is that the county certification of election results or the canvass of votes must take place no later than 8 days. Normally, this is no later than 13 days following the election. So we usually just do the next commission meeting, which is usually that third Monday. But in this case, we won't be able to do that. So I've given you a couple alternatives. The first of those is to hold the certification of the March 19th, 2024 presidential preference primary results on March 25th at 8:30 a.m. or Tuesday, March 26th at 8:30 a.m.
Now, Dory is giving this commission the option, and during planning, I wouldn't have done that. But Madam Clerk is giving that to the majority of the commission to decide whether we're gonna meet on the 25th or 26th, but we have to have a special meeting.
Yes, my recommendation is for the 25th.
Fine with me.
And that's what I would agree to.
Tell me when and I'll be there.
Okay, so would you please put it on the agenda for Monday, March 25 at 8:30?
Yes, sir.
For the sole purpose of canvassing the vote and nothing else. It's a special session. Do you have any reason to have anything else on the agenda for that, Robert?
Not known at this time, but I wouldn't think so.
Anything else, Dory?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you
And
very
the
much.
election date is
March 19.
19.
I did include in your packet just a list of key dates for that 2024 presidential preference primary. So please spread the word, let people know the rules are a little different. They can always call us, check our website to see what those are. If you know people that do mail ballots, that's one of my primary concerns this time is the rules around mail ballots. So I want to make sure that gets out.
If you have a moment, we'll go through those again. Just the deadline to register, if not already registered, you don't have to re-register or register anew. But if you're not registered or have moved, the deadline for registration for the presidential primary is the 31st day prior, correct?
Correct.
All right.
That would be the February 19th.
February 19 is 31 days prior to?
Yes.
I'm looking at it, but I'm questioning whether that's 31 days prior to the 19th. Is that right? There's only
Well,
28
there's a leap,
days.
there's a leap year. This is a leap year.
This year is.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. And then we have also then changed the application for mail ballots 30 days prior to the date of the election, which is, again, March 19th, so 30 days prior.
Correct.
And that day is, again, what day in February then?
February 19th.
Right, thank you. And the big change is that if you're going to mail in your ballot, it has to be received by your office by the close of the polls on March 19th.
Correct.
And ballot times are the same as the general elections.
What do you mean ballot times?
They voting times started
Seven.
what,
Oh,
morning?
7 to 7.
7 to 7 on election day, yes. We will probably continue with our normal, what's been 2 weeks in a day for advance voting.
And advance voting can be here.
Yes.
Question, Commissioner Jones?
Well, I want to clarify a date. We're going to vote on the 19th, and then we're going to canvass that vote or look at that election on the 25th. Is that what?
Yes, sir.
I'm making myself notes here because I'm, thank you.
All right, anything else for Dory under the presidential preference primary and the subtle changes in some rules?
One quick- Every state has this option to do this, or is this, how did,
I'm not sure. I just know that in Kansas, it's on the books under 4501A, I think. and it allows for the state legislature to authorize a presidential preference primary. I do know that there are other states that do it. I don't know how many or how often. If it requires an act from their legislature, I'm not sure.
And, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I can't think of the right verbiage right now, but we haven't used the presidential preference option or process. We've used it's not precinct.
Normally, the parties have a caucus.
Caucus is what,
A couple of years ago, I think that the Democrats did have a mail ballot election that they ran strictly was run strictly by the party.
but in my experiences here, it's been the caucus process that's been used most recently.
All right. Any other comments? Dory, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Well, let's see, Iowa's caucus is
Yeah.
coming up in 2 weeks or
Pretty
something like
quick,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they have presidential preference or caucus, or there's different ways.
Well, I just think that it's important for folks in Topeka to remember that when we have these special elections, there's special costs that go with them, and we're only partially reimbursed. That means that's a mandate, unfunded mandate from Topeka, again.
I would agree.
All right, the last thing on the agenda is something that I put there. We have some, or one or more commissioners that are attending some planned commissioner travel, want to get that approved. In particular, the KLPG winter meeting, local government day, and day at the Capitol. Which commissioners are going for those meetings?
Mr. Chairman, I plan to go, and the other one I plan to attend, because we work in conjunction with them, is the Southwest Kansas Chamber, which is February 5th. So there'll be two events the last week of January and two events the early part of February that I will be attending.
All right. And is any other commissioners wishing to attend?
I'm gonna be out of town, so I'm
All right.
gonna make.
Well, I would entertain a motion to approve sending Commissioner Pishney to represent us 23rd, 24th, February 5th, and February 8th, and to approve those travel and expense costs. Is there a motion?
I'll offer the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the attendance of Commissioner Pishney on the 23rd, 24th, February 5th, and February 8th as outlined in our agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for representing us at these important meetings.
The one on February 5th, where's that one?
That's in the rotunda of the
Oh, that's
Capitol.
it, okay.
Oh, on the 5th? Oh, no, excuse me. On the 5th is at the, what's that place just west of the Capitol? The Beacon.
Oh,
It's at the
okay.
Beacon, yeah. And then just a quick comment, didn't have anything to do with the motion, but that day at the Capitol on the 8th, and Robert, I don't know, somebody here is kind of spearheading Finney County's table in the rotunda.
Correct.
That day, if I'm not mistaken, and there'll be a handful of staff, of employees there, correct?
Correct. What that event offers is for counties to go ahead and set up tables, pamphlets, information, so on and so forth. Also gives us an opportunity to meet and greet some of the legislators, go to them, talk to them specifically about our needs here in Finney County. So it's a good opportunity, and Kelly is heading that up out of our office.
Well, I would sure want to make sure that we're keeping in contact with not only the Secretary of Transportation, but the head of the various committees, both House and Senate, on transportation with regard to Highway 83, and also our 4-lane coming from the east. Those are big projects for the county, and certainly appreciate your office, Robert Going, and those staff, as well as Commissioner Pishney. This will be an important opportunity for us to highlight what we're doing. All right. I don't have anything else on the business agenda. Governance coming up, upcoming meetings. Looks like we have a few things going on. I would plug in on mine as far as upcoming events, we have showcases on February 8th and March 5th here in Finney County. And as everyone recalls, we funded those showcases, and they are doing a spectacular job of bringing employers and interested students. And some of the concept is grow our own. And I'm going to segue just a moment on this issue of growing our own. Coming home yesterday, we do not have in our community a CRNA or an ethicist. They fly those here to serve our community. We have some local doctors that we've grown our own. We've lost some. But this is an area where we need specialty medical services in our community. It's completely void, and whatever we can do to help grow our own. We have the Stuckey boys, and I shouldn't refer to them that way, doctors, Brandon and Bradley Stuckey, along with Dr. Stuckey that's married to one of those young men, and they serve over at Plaza. We had Gretchen and Dunford and the doctor that was over with Dr. Coakswell Strandmark. They both chose to move on to other practice locations, much to the chagrin of all of us who would like to continue to grow our own here in Finney County. Sorry for the segue. Back to the agenda. Is there anything else on upcoming meetings or events from the commission? All right, then we'll go to staff reports, and since Mackenzie's not here today ill, Administrator Reese, can you give us the development update as part of your administrator's report, please?
Yes, just real briefly, Mackenzie forwarded this morning, just one topic. Just wanted to let you know and inform you that they will be meeting with NDS here towards the end of this month on that continued process of working things out and specifically outlining processes. So that is the update that Mackenzie provided to us. Questions?
I don't have any about that. I just, it's kind of been 6 months in the making. It's time to get that interlocal agreement hammered out. And I think this commission gave some ideas and proposals, and really haven't heard much progress back on that, as I understand it.
At this point, that's correct.
It's a new year. We ought to get to hopping on that.
Yep.
Anything else, sir, in your report?
From the administrative report?
Yes, why don't we go right on then to
Okay, that's fine,
administrator's
yes.
report.
Absolutely. This here is an update on a continued process for the phone systems. Much earlier last year, briefed the commission on the outdating of the current phone system. It's no longer supported, so on and so forth. We had budgeted for it back in August of '22 to replace it in '23. The system had been without support for 9 or 10 months at this point in time. Point to this comment is that right before the first of the year, we entered into a lease agreement to lease a phone system update, and I signed off on that at the first of the year. We had planned on doing that update lease after the first of the year, but because of some incentives and negotiations, we were able to come to an agreement and save over the term of that. It's a 5-year lease, 1 year at a time, renewable. We'll save approximately $60,000 by entering into it prior to the end of the year. So I just wanted to update you on that, and it was a budgeted expense as well. Just a reminder, we do have there's no LEC meeting this week. There will be one next week our office will send out reminders this week on that date. That will be on the 9th. We do have the Goldberg Group coming in, and that is on the Health Department EMS facility. They'll be here on the 8th and 9th both. They'll meet with the departments, they'll review the facilities that they currently have, and then they'll meet with Commissioner Drees and Commissioner Pishney, as well as the department heads for those facilities, and talk about that process and really get that going. So, once again, that is next week. Governing body priority list. I asked Jenny to go ahead and print that off as a reminder. This will go to the department heads at our weekly department head meeting, which will be tomorrow morning. And we'll review, most importantly for us, the second and third page, which identifies various initiatives and projects and so forth, and update those with my hope to have the commission look at that, do the same, and meet and update that sometime in February, either at the first meeting or the second meeting in February, if possible. Office will be working on year-end transfers, identifying that, as you are aware, over the last 3 years, and this being the fourth year, we've continually focused on setting aside monies for these projects that we've been working on here, such as the LAC building and elevator project at the courthouse, and the list goes on and on. So we will be transferring, coming to you, second meeting in this month with the proposed transfers into those capital improvement funds so that we can continue to make the needed improvements on the facilities. And just as an update on the courthouse elevator, this is something I received over the weekend, is that that project is moving forward. They provided us, they being the company that is doing the renovation of that, or modernization of that elevator, a list of items that needed to be done prior to them coming in and doing their part. Kyle will be working on that list, and I spoke with him earlier this morning as well on that project. So that is my update for this morning, subject to your questions.
Any questions for the administrator from the commission? Dory, planning session as recommended by the administrator, the 19th is President's Day. Is that our second meeting in February? Are we meeting on the 19th?
It's on a Tuesday.
No, 19th is Monday,
Oh, February.
February.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking January. Sorry.
That's President's Day. We'll probably meet on the 20th.
I've got that it's scheduled for the 20th. The commission meeting's scheduled for the 20th
Okay.
of February.
All right.
According to the dates that were provided to us
All
at
right.
the end of the year.
So can we do the planning session on the 20th? Does that work for most everybody here?
A work session?
Work session after regular session on the 20th.
Works for me, it looks like.
Probably ought to get lunch involved in that.
Sure.
Would we also have the personnel policy at that time for review?
I can check on that. We can check on that if it is available. We can piggyback onto that.
So for our purposes, the regular session is February 20th, and we're going to have a planning session on February 20th. And we'll have lunch for department heads and us. How does that sound to everybody?
Right now, it looks like it's open on mine.
So for February calendar, regular session on Monday, the 5th, and then regular session February, Tuesday, the 20th, followed with planning session or work session on the 20th. regard to our governance and saying we may have personnel, or not personnel, what other planning or work session would we have?
I just know that we were working on the personnel policy at the end of the year, and I think that'll go out to everybody at some point.
Correct, and I just don't know the status of that right at the moment.
Right,
That was something we talked about late last year.
okay. See how that unfolds. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt. With regard to this, earlier in '23, we had a work session, and Jenny kind of coordinated that and gave us a summary on an Excel spreadsheet of things that we thought were number 1 through 5. I hope that that information will be dovetail into this discussion, both with staff and in our work session. There may be updates to that, I get that, but I sure hate to see us start from zero when we've already done some work on it.
I think it'd also dovetail into budget priorities as well. It's kind of all one big thing.
Well, that'll be up to the new chairman on how to handle budget. Won't it, Mr. Jones?
Not making eye contact.
She's not going to be the chairman.
No,
Not me.
No.
I'm going out the door.
Okay, well, anything else, Mr. Administrator?
That's it this
Okay.
morning. Thank you.
All right. Then we'll shift gears on, according to our agenda, and hear from the county councilor. And then we'll have a need for an executive session.
Just updating you a little bit. We've talked these last several meetings about the e-filing system in regards to being able to get that tax sale done. The last email that I see that I have had from the Kansas Judicial Branch was on December 27th. They've started some phasing back into the access to the e-filing system. According to the email, it's slower than what they had anticipated or hoped. There have been some counties, judicial districts that have gained access back to the e-filing system. The 25th is not one of them. It didn't say in the email when it is that that's expected. There have been several counties that have regained some access. So we're still sort of waiting and working through that before we can move too much further into the tax sale as far as that goes, but I'll keep you updated as we get updates from the judicial branch on that. As the chairman alluded to, we have need for an executive session to talk about matters of attorney-client privilege on some new potential litigation, which was brought to our attention recently.
Okay, I don't want to just hand and foot tie you, or hog tie you. I want to mummy tie you to a schedule after the district court becomes available here in Finney County of when you anticipate commencing the sheriff's sale, tax foreclosure sale. Speak more clearly.
I had the basically the demand letters all ready to get sent out prior to that October 12th cybersecurity attack. I didn't want to send them out when it was really up in the air as to when it is that we could actually start doing something. So my plan is, as soon as we get access, to start sending those out, and then to get back with the title company to update those title searches on that, and then commence from there after we get those back. So.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Mummy tied, not just hand tied.
Make sure to.
Just so the public
One
knows,
hand.
the only public access to the court records that we have is a portal, public portal, in Topeka, in the Judicial Center, and you have to make an appointment in 15-minute segments in order to have public access to it. So if the commission wants to have public access prior to them reopening here in Finney County, we would have to pay for someone to access that portal in Topeka. And secondly, that portal will only have what is available as of the date of the attack, October 6th. And since the 6th, we've had thousands of filings in Finney County. which are not available on that public access. So it is not something that the county counselor can just wave their hand or send somebody to Topeka to get, because we would still have insufficient and inaccurate information because of the attack on the access to the court records. Third, I am trying to educate everybody a little bit, including the public, that a tax foreclosure action should not be commenced until you have all of the known people who have an interest in the subject real estate being joined in one action. So that's the reason.
And I think it's important, just piggybacking on that, to understand as well that when the public access does become available again, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's in there yet that has happened between that October 12th date and the date that it comes back online, because the clerk's office is still working on getting those into the system. So modified clerk office hours and all that will be expected as well. So even when it does come back online, it doesn't mean that all the information is actually there right away.
But they're gonna get the news from you that you're mummy-tied, and so you need this information
Absolutely.
priority. I'm sure it'll happen that way.
I'm sure.
Good luck, Ms. Shards.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, Commissioners, we do need to have an executive session. I need a motion for it, the purpose and the length. 10 minutes enough?
I believe so.
And who do you want involved in it?
Other than our council.
Both administrators and the county council.
And this is for,
Attorney-client privilege.
okay, I'll offer that motion for 10 minutes with commission, with county council, and with 2 county administrators.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to go into executive session for the purpose of attorney-client privilege for the time period of 10 minutes with the counselor, administrator, and the assistant administrator and chief finance officer in attendance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session. Be back in into regular session, and I will advise the public that no decisions were made during executive session.
And I'll offer that motion.
Second. Moved and seconded, go into regular session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No decisions were made during executive session. Next on the agenda is commission reports, I believe. And we'll start on the right with Commissioner Larry Jones.
The only thing, I maybe forgot to bring this up last meeting was the Upper Ark meeting I attended, and here's some maps for the floodplains for Holcomb and Garden City, if anybody's curious.
Why don't we include those in the record so that we have those?
Keep those here. They're going to, I guess eventually what they're doing is redoing them. They're trying to.
Well, it'd be nice for them to have some water in the river so that we would have a possible chance of flooding.
We do have water at Holcomb,
They got it, made it?
yeah? But it freezes up, so it doesn't last very long. But it's there. Also attended the groundbreaking ceremony along with everybody else at the new fire and EMS facility on the east side of town. Other than that, pretty quiet.
Very good.
Stayed away from accidents.
Commissioner Pishney?
The same too as Larry, as far as the Ark River and the groundbreaking, and it's exciting to get that groundbreaking behind us and get that project off the ground with that sales tax ballot issue that was passed a few years ago. Then mine is just the last, as we talked earlier, I'll be in Topeka for a couple weeks, or part of 2 weeks, and hopefully make contact with the legislators while I'm over there.
Commissioner Jones?
The only meeting I had was the groundbreaking, which was welcome to see that happen. I do have a question, though, and had forwarded a question at our last meeting. That's about the Board of Zoning Appeals. Do you know if Bob Kreitzer's been sworn in, whoever?
I know that I received a message back from them that Bob will be sworn in at their first meeting here in January.
Okay, that would make sense, but he had not heard from anybody that he was going to be named, so.
I followed up on that, and that's the response we got back from.
All right,
Right.
thank you.
He will be sworn in at their first meeting here in February, or January. Anything else, Commissioner?
No, that's it, thank you.
We had a Compass meeting as part of our Christmas party with Compass. They're, as you know, last time they were before the commission with regard to registration taxes on vehicles. We hope that the relief that we provided, or the letter that we provided in support of their application, will be received by the Board of Tax Appeals so that they can continue to register their cars here in Finney County. They intend to purchase as many as 40 new additional vehicles, go along with their 60 new employees. It is a fun time here in Garden City, and as Compass continues to grow and develop and provide the community-based services that were envisioned in 1961 when this commission created area mental health along with the other participating counties here in southwest Kansas. I did speak at the groundbreaking ceremony with regard to the 2017 sales tax that was provided. Also have participated as chairman of the, under the interlocal agreement of the Sales Tax Oversight Committee. It's been a joy to serve on that committee since its conception. What we can do when both city and county work together on this sales tax that has resulted in that fire station number 3, but I also drove by Jenny Barker Road and noticed that our lighting on Jenny Barker Road had run afoul, and it's just blinking lights, and I understand that they had an accident there, and it's hard to get replacement information and materials to those lights to coordinate that. I hope they get that done. In my remarks at the groundbreaking, I forgot to mention that we had 2 zoo projects in that sales tax, also as well as a gun range. And the gun range has been very, very good for both city and county law enforcement personnel. And that gun range, if all you have to do is ask Commissioner Drees, is available to the public and well used by the public as an additional activity for home safety and exercise of Second Amendment rights by citizenry here in Finney County. That is my report, and does anybody have anything else?
Just one logistic, or not logistic, excuse me, one thing with regard to the last page of our agenda. It says the next or one of the meetings is Monday, January 16th, and that's on a Tuesday, just so it doesn't confuse the public. We are meeting on a Tuesday, which is January 16th. That date is correct.
Okay, and then our additional meetings then will be February 5th and February 20th? With the special session on February 20.
The work session.
We have work session on the 20th, and then we also have then a special session that we set in March. March 25th. Thank you, and you'll get those on the calendar, please. Anything else?
February what?
January 16th and February 5th are next 2 meetings. February 20th will be a Tuesday also. In recognition, I don't know whether, are we closed on President's Day on the 19th? Is the county closed? All right. Very good. Anything else, commissioners? Motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second it. Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.